Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Statesmanship Project. In this episode, we're going to continue our discussion on the necessity to define and understand accurately objective reality. What I want to discuss is political identity in this particular episode. So, based on watching my videos, you may assume that I am white. You would be incorrect. I am not white. White is a political identity, as is black, as is Hispanic or Latino. These are political identities. And these are political identities defined by those that control the political narrative, so that they can put people into nice, neat little boxes and then tell everyone else what they think. Oh, those are white people over there, they think this. Those are black people over there, they think that. The reality is far different. My political identity is a Catholic. I am a Catholic American. Now, this grants to me two separate sets of patrimony. My ancestors came to this country from England in 1685, and they established a life for themselves, spanning across through North Carolina and then spread out subsequently throughout the rest of the nation. The physical land is the country. So it is Bradley, that family name, and chances are good you might know a Bradley somewhere, and I may be related to them in some way. We can trace our lineage back. And so as a heritage American, I have a patrimony associated with that. Patrimony of pioneer mentality, desiring to build a nation for myself and for my descendants, as well as a desire to have a republic of self-governed people, such that our government is instituted amongst ourselves to serve us. We do not work for the government does not have power over us. And when the government becomes abusive to those ends, we have the God-given right to institute a new government. Because in America, we have recourse to the law. And the first law is God's law. And if we do not have recourse to that law, then whoever is in charge of man's law, the law on earth, needs to be removed and subsequently replaced with someone who is going to recognize the jurisdiction of God and the rights that he has granted to all of the people that live in America, all of the heritage Americans that are here, that is part of our nation. Since 1965, we've become utterly deluded with people that are not heritage Americans, and then we have no idea what it means to have a nation. And the same is happening all throughout Europe, and it actually happened with bringing rural blacks from the South into Catholic neighborhoods in the North. And this is all a way to destroy Christian heritage, which brings me to my second set of patrimony. As a Catholic, I have the patrimony of every Catholic that has ever lived. I might not be Irish or have Irish heritage, but because there were those in Ireland that suffered in order to receive the Eucharist, in order to save and promulgate the faith for themselves and their descendants, that is part of my patrimony. The same is true for Catholics everywhere. The Jesuits that went and converted tribal natives in South America or in Asia to Catholicism, that went there and met them where they were, translated their language, wrote down an alphabet for them, taught them how to be civilized, that is part of my patrimony as well. And to ignore this patrimony is to set myself up for defeat, and to let someone else define what this patrimony is to give someone else power over me, and power over the faith that is not rightfully theirs. Faith belongs to the people, and it was instituted by God. This is my patrimony. this is my identity. And because of this identity, it allows me to recognize when terms are being inverted. For example, the idea of American. Everybody can be an American. That's not true. Just because you live within the jurisdiction of the United States government doesn't mean you're an American. Just because you live on American soil does not mean you're an American. Any more than I could go to Japan and become a Japanese person, or China and become a Chinese person. There is an ethnic heritage to America, and you must recognize that heritage. And then from that heritage, you must recognize what it is about the people that settled here that allowed them to create a nation for themselves and their descendants, their progeny, and how we fight and protect and perpetuate that system for our progeny. And then there are terms that are used within Catholicism that are also inverted, and intentionally so, as a way to subvert the value and the virtue that is communicated within these terms. Most notably, I am thinking about social justice and social credit. Social justice is a Catholic term, and it talks about protecting and instilling the rights of the individual person, the individual human being, when it comes to work and life within society. The idea of a living wage. An individual man should be able to make enough money to provide a good life for his wife and their children, especially if you want to have future generations. And if you want your population to grow, that means at least 3 children. And he should be able to do this by himself. That would be justice in a society that valued above all else the individual members within that society. Not money, not profit, not gold, but human lives. And that's just the first part. So social justice is intentionally inverted to make you hate social justice warriors, because these people take the idea of what is legitimate social justice and completely invert it and make you think that anything you do is wrong simply because you had a thought, or simply because you have the wrong color of skin, or because you used a word that some other ancient tribe used at some point in time, even though it accurately describes the same thing that you are discussing. They want to claim that you are appropriating it. Before I go off on a tangent, I will address the other social word, which is social credit. There's an idea in China that you have to have a social credit score in order to be able to do anything, and if you're not a good quote-unquote citizen, you don't have a quote-unquote high credit score, social credit score. And this is similar to an actual credit score in America, which is your ability to get credit, or reflects your ability to get credit, which is also a flawed system. That somehow, that system is the same thing as a social credit system, which is founded upon Catholic ideals. And because that system is so bad and so prevalently used, anybody who discusses the idea of a legitimate social credit system is ignored. But in a legitimate social credit system, one in which the people own the money serves them, doesn't serve the bankers or the elite, but it works as a means of exchange between the people, and there is no usury, and the profits accumulated by a nation benefit all of the people. It's not socialism because it's not materialism. It's not capitalism because there's no usury, and the highest good is not capital. But it's about benefiting human lives in order to facilitate prosperity amongst the people within a nation. And so I will be breaking down these concepts more in future episodes. I hope this topic intrigues you as it intrigues me, and you will join me in this conversation as we go on this journey. This has been kind of a longer one, and I hope it's not unentertaining. But if you made it this long, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, have a good day.